Hello. You are created by God and loved by your Creator. Let's jump right into this. So, today is going to be a little bit rambly. I've got a number of things I want to share with you, and I don't really know where to start, but I did start taking some notes last week, so I'll start with my notes. But before we jump into it, the reason I'm recording, I fully intend to use this content I am capturing to read, write, or speak about it at a later date. And I want to capture all of my being, my facial expression, how I feel about things, even tonight, this lovely raspy voice that I have, thanks to that Michigan, the woman that she is, and her partnership with Mother Nature has just been having hot flashes. And we love it when she flashes hot because it's nice out, but it's when it's cold again that we really don't like her. So it's kind of the opposite. So I love the fact that the earth, especially in Michigan, experiences 4 seasons. It's just, I don't know that I want to experience all 4 seasons in 1 week. I think every 3 months is great. Anyway, that's what she's doing. So the windows were wide open as Michigan was warm and sunny, and now it's not warm and sunny. That's all I can say. So, as you see me stir and drink what looks like hot cider, I assure you it's not. I come to you grateful. So, let's get right into the gratitude. So, just looking at some of my notes here. It's been an interesting week, to say the least. And the fact that it's Monday and I'm recording and it's not, I was going to say it's not like almost midnight, but it really is, looking at my clock, 11:54, fail. So we'll go there. So starting out with my gratitude. In fact, I think I'm going to title this episode, I Will Make Room. And that came even before this past sermon, actually yesterday. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. My gratitude is about fullness of joy, like the experience of elation that is so easily seen with children, but I think sometimes lost on us as adults, like giving ourselves fully to an expression of something, and being unreserved in the expression of whatever that is. Now, I say that, and maybe I feel responsible to put a caveat on it, because you can see people be really dramatic, especially inside of grief, like attention-seeking, emotional, crazy-making behavior. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that unreserved, unbridled, uninhibited expression of joy, like 100% committed to it. I noticed somewhere in this past week, I feel like I have been, I think cauterizing is the word, my heart, where I'm trying to stop the flow of something negative reaching me. But that same blockage keeps the good from flowing also. And so there's this exchange that happens. And when it comes to emotion, I want to really celebrate the good, right? Like really go for it and be like, ah. But then when it comes to the negative emotions or the ones that don't feel so awesome, I want to act like they're not there. And I'll never forget the first time I fully experienced disappointment. How genuinely I felt let down. Like something was not okay, and just be with it. I don't know how to describe what opened up for me. All I know is that I didn't die. I lived. And that it's an emotion. It will pass. But I think what I valued most was the opportunity to have permission to experience it. So, all that to say, I love my feelings. I love my emotions. I love being in them. I love being in them for the joy. Um, I'm careful and I still be in them when it's hard. Sometimes I don't be in them by myself just because of how my brain is wired. It's sometimes not a safe space, but I acknowledge it and move through it. I really sound like a frog. So, I wrote in my notes, I am unwilling to cauterize my heart. Man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. Oh, just talking about this attribute of Abba, which is how I refer to God. That he's not going to put the kibosh or shut down sorrow or grief or sadness. In fact, I think last week I actually watched a gentleman who did a TED Talk on grief and sadness and how it really was an access and a gateway for him for joy and peace and being fully expressed in who he is in life and purpose and value and meaning. I was really encouraged with that. I was doing a journal entry and some writing that I had, and I came across Psalm 51:6. And it really is a chapter and a passage around repentance. I think it's the same chapter we get the passage, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew in me a right spirit. But this particular verse really blessed me. It's on my wall. Hang on a second. Okay. This one here says, Psalm 51:6, behold, you desire truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part you will make me to know wisdom. I think something around the events of last week that just resonated with me. You'll make me to know wisdom in my inmost parts. And I was thankful for it. I'm not really sure what the connect is. I'm sure it's probably something I wrote down in the other journal entry that I'll share with you later. But looking at last week, I felt a little heavy and moody, and so I put into practice my gratitude. And I was doing some listening to music, and I have a playlist called Trust in Texas because it's the music that I go to when I'm listening about, this upcoming move that I'm looking forward to. And then in God's Leading Lady, T.D. Jakes addressed this whole damsel in distress mentality where we want to be rescued by a Prince Charming. I'm not opposed to a Prince Charming. In fact, at some moment in this video, we're going to riff on men, particularly riff on Black men, and just talk about how great they are. Just give me a second to get to it. But talked about this damsel in distress, and I just recognized, who do I want to be in relationship, and who do I want someone to be in relationship with when they're in a relationship with me? Do I want to be a distress, here, come save me from my problems, or do I want to be someone who's like taken on my life head on and said, hey, I know how to address some things? So for me, I was really encouraged by reading that. I was challenged to put on my big girl pants and woman up in some areas of my life. And so I did. My state license came through. I don't know if I was celebrating that, but it surprised me because on Tuesday, I didn't realize that my license had been approved the same day I got my fingerprints. Is this really my voice? Is this really my voice? Oh my goodness. Give me just a second. So my license came through. Super excited the same day. Like I said, I got my fingerprints done. And then on April 20th, it occurred to me that I'm really doing the thing. Like, I'm actually living a life I do not want to escape. I've been pondering that since Tuesday, living a life I don't want to escape. Some people say, I want to live on vacation. It's all well and good, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I know that there's purpose and meaning and work to be done inside of human beings being known, loved, and cared for. And I'm an advocate for Black men. And so this week, in the conversations I had with a couple of girlfriends around the conversation to have with Black men, I was inspired by the fact that she's discovering who she is for herself as a woman and what she brings to the table to make a difference for Black men. And I just thought, girl, we got work to do. And And as much as living life on vacation sounds really, really great, there is something that just is untouchable when it comes to purpose, meaning, and making a difference. Vacation's great, trust and believe. I would love to live life as if I were vacationing, but I'd have to have a job. Like I'd have to have purpose and intention. I'd have a vocation and a calling, something that I felt like was worth giving my life to. And giving my life in service of making a difference for Black men, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. There's some other things that I want to do and get to, but we'll talk about that. Okay, back to my notes. I was reading a passage, not sure where I found it from, but it was in Isaiah, chapters 38 and 39. And it was around a prayer of thanksgiving. Hezekiah was healed. That's what it was. He was healed. And God added another 15 years to his life to make a difference. Oh my goodness. I don't know what it is around time for me lately, but I'm relating to it not as if it's the thing that's running out, but it really is mine to manage, and what am I giving myself to? This is really rambly. This is my voice. This is terrible. The next thing I wanted to talk about was leadership, work, and coaching. And then the chat with my sister regarding my mom and dad. Okay, that's a load. That's a load. How about more of this nastiness? So, leadership, work, and coaching. I've got a coach who's holding my feet to the fire around my development of my business as a mobile massage therapist, which, check it out, my business card has come in. I'm really excited. Can you guys see that? Abiding place. Rest, restore, recover. I even think I figured out who my ideal client is, and so developing a business plan around that. Go figure. I think my ideal client is somewhere between the ages of 18 and 32, Black male, athletic, owns an apartment or owns a home, maybe married. Anyway, people who are actively using their bodies to make a difference, provide for their families, whatnot, and then caring for everybody around that. So cancer patients and other things that I think I want to do. Anyway, still working that one out, but I have a business card thanks to the coaching I got from the gal who has been a mobile massage therapist for 20 years. So shout out and thank you to my coach. Doing the work. Let me come back to that one, because that one leads right into my riff on Black men. It's really great, but about doing the work. And then leadership was one that came up for me. And so I've had a coach around my financial service education and business who has partnered with me and continues to inspire me. And as I'm doing all the things that I do, has really just taken who I am and broadened my horizon around how I'm able to generate income. And so I really appreciate her. Then this conversation around work, like doing the work. So this past Sunday was really great. I listened to the service online with Dr. Tony Evans. And for me, I was both blown away by some of the things that I heard in my own spirit as Dr. Tony Evans was talking. And in some of the, I was watching a YouTube video prior to that, and just blown away by what the Holy Spirit had dropped in my heart. And it was around women and dating. And that one by itself just blew my socks off. I was like, oh my goodness. But in the sermon that Dr. Tony Evans was preaching, he was talking about being a living sacrifice, around Romans 12:1. And really, what landed in my heart is I've been a little bit of a holdout. There's something about living fully, kind of like when I talked about, being unwilling to cauterize my heart, to hold something back or reserve or try to keep from being injured or looking silly or foolish or not wanting to be vulnerable if I just tell the truth. It's almost like God asked me, Deb, are you willing to believe me exactly for what I said and hold nothing back? Are you willing to give me everything? Like, are you willing to have an unbridled experience of yourself and live out in the world fully expressed and known, regardless of what it looks like? It was a loaded question. Just so you know, I said yes, but it didn't feel like a yes at the time that I said it. Later Sunday, I went to the coffee shop and I literally finished writing my testimony for 12-step recovery. I've been in a recovery program for about, I'm looking past the camera here, about what, 5 years now? And I was supposed to have shared my testimony last October, and I couldn't get it written without hitting a relapse point from just the stress of reflecting on some of the crazy that I've really moved through. And perhaps I will share some of it on this platform. However, it is a written document. So that being the case, I don't know that I'll share all of it. My phone is about to die, so I guess I should finish this video sooner than later. And when I finished it, I made sure I sent it to the person who needed to review it, as well as a number of friends and family members who have supported me in my journey. But I realized it took being willing to be unbridled, unleashed, unhindered. And I'm noticing that in all areas of my life. Like when you go into business, you go into business to stay in business, to win at your craft, to do it well, to offer a service. And I'm just noticing I'm at that threshold. I am in that entryway of all the things that I've come through. It's, hey, Deb, are you willing to live your life on a megaphone and look silly maybe in the process for what you love or what you're passionate about? And maybe I'll look awesome. I don't know. But I do know this is I can't wait for everyone to agree with me or like me or think what I'm doing is really awesome to want to do it for myself. And I'm learning to show up for me, just for me. And absolutely love it. And I can just see in these little ways in the past week where I'm beginning to win at the games I said I want to play in life. You know, being there for my aunt, supporting my mom, being there for my sister, showing up as a massage therapist. I had my first like mobile client today, and it was so great. Like it was a really great experience. So doing the work. So Sunday afternoon, I come home and I'm busy typing and writing, and I hear, okay, let me back up. I hear from a gentleman, and I have to tell you, in my head, there's a group of Black men, and I call them the Council of Kings. Like, I don't know what it is about them because I don't have words for it yet, but there are only a few men who sit in this category. And one of them on Sunday afternoon sent me a text. And he sent me a text regarding another gentleman that I've met, again, African-American gentleman, and I consider him to be a part of the Council of Kings. And the one gentleman who texted me said, hey, I was hoping you would invite, so-and-so to, a meeting on Sundays. And I was like, oh my goodness, it'd be a pleasure. Let me get right on that. And so I'm playing this game in life called, if the man asks you to do the thing, just make it a priority and get it done. Long story on that one, but it's how I'm cultivating and managing myself as a woman in preparation for a husband, that I don't let what's important to them be the last thing I get to, but make it a priority. So it's a practice. So I sit down to give him a call, and I talk to this friend who I think is brilliant, and I find him a little bit intimidating because he's really, really great. So we have a whole conversation, and we go back to one of my previous posts where I talked about being auntie to my niece and showing up for her and what that looks like. And he pointed out like asking permission. And I hadn't even realized I was really waiting to ask permission. When in the world of being auntie, I usually just show up and offer who I am. And I just noticed it's one of those places where I've cauterized my heart, where I've set a boundary, where I'm safeguarding, where I'm hiding, where I'm not giving myself fully. And then the beautiful part is that my friend tells me, Deb, you're already doing the thing. Like you're already there. Just in the flow of being you get to show up for your niece. And it was really encouraging, super inspiring. And I'm now looking at all the ways, how can I be in touch with my niece and make a connection and not have it be that I'm waiting to get permission or waiting for her mom and dad to figure something out. I can just show up in auntie. I can just show up in auntie. Now there's stuff for me to deal with. I really grapple and struggle with what it looks like to be auntie to my niece. I could figure it out with my nephews. If you just feed them and give them a Hot Wheel or a Lego, they're good. Like, it's really great. But my niece, usually if I feed her and then maybe just Legos, but she's 18 now. I don't know what she needs. So I don't know what there is for me to provide. But what I've been noticing is when I show up, she gets exactly what she needs from me. I had a conversation with my older niece. This is what really surprised me. Is this really my voice? This past week, I had a conversation with my older niece. And we were talking about, in another sense of the word, like doing the work. I think it was obedience in her actions to God. I think that's what we were talking about. And in the course of conversation, it turned around and totally came back to me where she talked about, Auntie, you've been living the example I've needed to see. And even though you didn't really talk about it, I saw what you hung on your walls and I saw how you interacted. And we had so many different conversations. And then when her dad died, is what she said. When Dad died, I saw we had new conversations and we saw different things. And I'm humbled and grateful that the expression of myself was out loud enough, even up to this point, out loud enough that my oldest niece caught what she needed to hold on to for herself. And here she is, my oldest niece is at the age of, 26 and reflecting on the fact that she sees so many parts of my life when I was doing things at the age she is now or very close to that age. And she sees the example. And I was like, I've been doing this auntie thing. Like, I'm doing the thing. Like, I'm just doing it. So anyway, I'm both encouraged and inspired to see myself at the experience of being enough, at the experience of being, in the sweet spot of what I love in life. And that is love and being of service. I love being of service. I love contributing to other people. I love making a difference for them. I love holding space and context for people to show up. And I think I mostly got that from learning to love to hold space for me. So I thank you, friend who talked to me on Sunday, April 24th in the evening for about 45 minutes. Thank you. There is a gift inside of community, and whatever there is for the Black community to accomplish, I'm on board. I'm on board to see men honored. I'm on board for women to bloom and blossom in the context of relationship, such that every woman learns to take off the limitation that she puts on herself of any kind to be the full expression of who she is. I like how I'm showing up in the world. I think I really, really like how I'm showing up in the world. I've grappled with my own willingness to be successful, like I've been terrified of it. I've grappled with my own success. I've grappled with the responsibility that comes with it. But being in love in life, just in love with life and in love with people, has offered me something very, very different than I think I've ever had. So maybe that's everything. My riff on Black men was a little bit short. I promise it'll come back around. But they are brilliant human beings. And this Council of Kings, I don't know what that is, but I promise you when I get language to describe what that is for me, I'll share it with you guys. But for the time being, to all the fathers, sons, dads, brothers, uncles, elders, not just senior citizens, not just people in nursing homes, not just people out trying to make it happen for their families. You're all of that, but more than anything, you're a human being with a tremendous call for your contribution to show up big in the world. and that I'm an advocate for your bigness. I'm an advocate for your greatness. I'm an advocate for you being recognized for who you are and the gift that you bring and what you have to offer. So thank you. Thank you for being a man. Thank you for being on the planet. Thank you for getting who you are, like literally getting a sense of who you are, and then choosing to show up in all the big and little ways that you do, because you matter. You make a tremendous difference. This is not the video that I thought I was going to post. And I'm going to stop talking now because my voice, I think it just needs some sleep. So, I don't know. I'm making room for me. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Making room for me, and by holding space for myself, I get to show up for other people. So I'm making room for you too. All right, if anything I said was valuable that you want to take away today, I'm astounded because I definitely rambled. But thank you for listening, and have a really great rest of your week. All right, bye.